One of the key challenges facing organisations of all sizes, but particularly those smaller organisations like a regional council, is the complexity around applications, technologies, because a lot of them are legacy. And council have this unique challenge that they've got a limited budget, a range of stakeholders, and the need to deliver diverse services efficiently. So one example that we encountered was a regional council that was struggling to provide a seamless and integrated public service experience. And this was mainly due to the patchwork of legacy systems that were developed in isolation across the different business areas. So this led to repetitive data entry, led to inefficient service delivery, and frustrated residents, businesses and visitors of the council. So they had to navigate through a maze of departments for the services that should have been pretty straightforward. There was duplication across those IT investments and across the business areas, and this was a bit of a problem because the functionalities were duplicated multiple times. So one of the issues with that was that the existing technologies was draining the resources of the council, and that could be put better elsewhere. So an attempt was made to enhance the community engagement through digital channels, but this was hampered by that fragmented IT landscape that made it difficult to provide that cohesive online experience. So the business areas were using different platforms for communication, and there was no easy way to aggregate the feedback or the insights from the community. So we stepped in, strategic architects were able to provide that enterprise architecture. We were able to map out the council's systems and processes, identify those overlaps and the gaps, and then we were able to map out like a roadmap that had that integrated user service delivery platform so that they could take that away and progress. So strategic architects use a holistic strategic architecture approach in the delivery of architectural products for councils that direct and guide the development of target state outcomes. So this methodology is based on the enterprise architecture guiding executives to develop digital and ICT strategies and ensuring that those projects deliver to those strategies. So enterprise architecture is our key service that we offer, and we do work with a lot of different firms, a lot of different organisations. And we find that some consultancy firms shy away from getting into the nitty-gritty with councils and small organisations. So our enterprise architecture ensures that a comprehensive analysis of the existing system processes and documentation, so your current state, and we have a structured framework that encompasses various dimensions of the council. So strategic architects utilise a standardised framework, and it's called TOGAF, but that's the Open Group Architecture Framework, and the Queensland Government Enterprise Architecture Framework, which is the QGEA. So we tailor these methodologies for every council that we work with, and we use a process to have that structure, the analysing, the documenting, and we use that to look at the current state. So that architecture framework offers us things like guidelines, things like templates. It provides us with that best practice so that we can capture the details across, we get the processes, the systems, the interrelationships. So as shown in this example, the Architecture Development Method, or ADM, from TOGAF allows all aspects of the enterprise architecture to be captured, such as the business processes on the right there, right through the data applications, technology infrastructure. These models help in understanding the interactions and the dependencies between the different components. So the methodology starts at the top there with a request for architecture work, And then you go through, you develop that architecture vision, you develop your principles, you then work on all those domains. You can see the business, the data, the information, the applications and the technologies. So once you've got all that information, you need to store it somewhere. And that's where we use our Orbis Infinity tool. We determine what the gaps and the opportunities are. We look at the solution architecture and we provide the architecture leadership that is used for that development work. We use this specific specialised enterprise architecture tool to support the documentation and to have that current state architecture. And that tool can help us with the information, the relationships, and also enable us to analyse the existing systems and processes. So strategic architects are the experts in enterprise architecture, and we can utilise that for your council. So we use various documentation artefacts such as catalogues, diagrams, matrices, and that helps in systematically organising that information around the current state. So then you've got the documentation that's provided, it's like clear, detailed view of that existing architecture, and that is what you can do decisions from. So key feature in all our engagements is that stakeholder engagement. So we can establish your architecture board, for instance. We can help the councils run and guide those boards. We can conduct interviews and workshops with your stakeholders across your council. We can get those detailed insights that we need around the existing processes, systems and challenges and store that in the tool. This direct engagement that we do with the stakeholders ensures that the analysis is covered from that perspective and incorporates all those insights that you can get across council. So we also use collaboration tools, we use workshops, facilities, we've got a Mentimeter software that we also incorporate, or we can just use things like EA forms and stuff that you can do. So our enterprise architecture involves comparing that current state and with that future state, and we do the comparison, and then we identify those gaps and the redundancies that can be attached to it. And this provides us with those inefficiencies in those processes that we can build on. So strategic architecture apply their own enterprise architecture maturity model, and we can assess the current state of the various IT and business domains. And this helps us to identify where those areas for improvement are. So at a high level, we take the council through a series of steps through an ad hoc approach. We use enterprise architecture as a trusted element to go even to right through to the partner level for some business areas, or at that trusted level as well can be good. So the maturity assessments give us that structured evaluation of how processes and systems perform against best practices and industry standards. We carefully determine where we know for each council what to do and how to transition, and we want them to move to the future that they desire and that we map out for them. So enterprise architecture, it's not a one-time activity. It's a continuous process of review and update and change management over time. So regular assessments of the current state ensure that the architecture reflects the latest changes in the technology, business processes and council goals. So we're flexible, and once we've delivered the enterprise architecture for you and done all those steps that we've talked about, we can be engaged just to run the architecture board, for instance. Be there for advice for your senior management teams when needed. We can make sure that we consult and be a part of your team and not leave you in the lurch. So through these practices, this enterprise architecture approach that we do ensures that we've got a comprehensive, detailed, up-to-date analysis of the existing systems, of your processes and your documentation. So this holistic view, it gives you that strategic decision-making capability where you can help your council, where you can align to the business goals, that you can make sure your IT's there. And then you can start on your digital transformation efforts that you want to do. So if you're a council or any size organisation and you require tailored enterprise architecture that can be delivered to meet your strategic goals, please contact us and we would love to hear from you.